Good afternoon, cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. This is Sean, and this is going to be our spoiler review for episode 4 of The Bad Batch called Cornered. So, spoilers, you've been told. This is probably my favorite episode as we currently sit. Now, it's hard to get around saying that this is a favorite episode when you have a 70-minute pilot with tons of action and a little bit of backstory, a little bit of retconning. But this one specifically really got my attention. Now, we knew that Fennec Shan was going to be part of this series with the Bad Batch. From the trailers that we got, I didn't expect her to be coming in so soon. But with that, that adds a lot more storytelling, at least interesting storytelling from my point of view going forward. The episode starts with them having a discussion on the ship that they need to get fuel. They're out of rations. They are slowly coming to the realization that if they're on the run and working for themselves, the Republic, or now the new Empire, aren't going to fund them. And so they need to figure out how to get money and how to get parts for the ship and fuel and food and stuff like that. They also realize that if they land, they're going to be found out, and they need to figure out a way to hide their ship essentially in plain sight and decode it, deregister it essentially. And so they need to find a place to land, and they find this moon, Pandora, something like that. I don't remember. I watched the episode this morning. I'm just now getting to it, the review. So but the idea of them, they find a place to land at a space dock, Tech and Wrecker having to figure out that they need to pay off the guy who needs to register the ship, and them paying him, but then not paying him enough. And then realizing that if you're going to pay somebody off to not register the ship, that they're going to turn around and try to make some extra money on the back end. And he calls Fennec Shan. They also have this where they have to kind of trade what they have of any value to get some money, pawn it, for lack of a better term. And in that process of pawning, Echo and Hunter and Omega go to a pawn shop, and they try to sell this bomb, this detonator, and the shop owner wants to buy Echo. And I find this kind of interesting because Echo right now, at least so far in the series, hasn't really had too much of a story arc. And part of that, I think, too, is the final season of Clone Wars. We get that 4-story arc about rescuing Echo and stuff. But right now, as we sit, he hasn't been a major part of the episodes as we've gotten. But having this pawn shop owner mistaken him for a droid. Now, he was, kind of, dressed as a droid, kind of, again, hiding in plain sight. But his mechanical parts are so much of his identity now that he is kind of bleeding between clone, trooper, human, droid. And I think that would be a really fun kind of story arc to kind of go forward with. But they pawn Echo Alf to get some money. And in that process, Omega finds a doll, and then she finds puppies, and then the puppies take her doll, so she chases the puppies, and in that, she gets separated because Hunter and Echo aren't paying attention. And the idea of they still don't understand that they need to keep an eye on her. In the last episode with Cut saying, or Cut's wife, partner, saying, you're there to protect them, they're going to get in trouble. Hasn't had a chance to sink in, I think, quite yet, until this episode happens with Omega kind of getting lost on her own, and Fennec Shan is the one who finds her. And to this point, everybody that Omega has met and got to know has been friendly to her. So she doesn't understand quite that there are people who are going to earn your trust to take advantage of you or to use you to take advantage of someone else. We also got another one of those scenes in this episode with Omega learning about the outside world outside of Camino. And I thought that that was kind of cool to continue this idea of her learning about the outside world, because she's only ever been in Camino. She's only been in the sterile hospital kind of like atmosphere of Camino. And now she's actually getting out into the world and playing in the dirt and meeting strange animals and having strange animals trying to kill her. And then she's in this spaceport and all the different foods and stuff. There's also this multiple things that happen this episode. Hunter and Echo kind of working the system, stealing from the pawn shop owner. Finnick stealing produce to help feed Omega, and then Finnick using Omega to get to Hunter and the guys. There's not a good person amongst them outside of Omega in this show yet. Everybody's working the system, including everybody on Camino. Tarkin, was it Rampart? I think is what his name is. Admiral at Rampart. The 99. Everybody is a bad person at some stage outside of Omega, and I think that would be kind of a fun story arc again going forward. The rest of the episode is Omega on the run as the kind of the MacGuffin. Hunter's trying to save her. Finnick is trying to take her. Omega kind of gets away from Finnick, and she's pretty adept on her own, even though there's, some, questionable decisions on her part. But that's, when you're a kid, you just got to try to get out of the situation the best you can. So then you go in the sewer, then you end up on the tower, and you're hanging. Anyways, but she helps Hunter defeat Finnick during this exchange, and their teamwork is coming together really quickly. And I like Wrecker's kind of big brotherness that we got to at the end. Like I said, I really like this episode. I really like that Omega is really becoming part of the team, and their teamwork is really starting to show. And that although she is a child and she's going to make mistakes, she is learning that there's more to the world than just being on Camino and all that. I don't know how this is going to go forward. We're definitely going to get Finnick. I don't know who hired her. They really didn't explain that, which I'm okay with. But I don't think that she's going to be the big bad, the big foil for the rest of the season. I think she's going to be one of the foils. I think that the big thing for them is they're going to just be constantly on the run, and through that run process, we're going to get a more cohesive group of Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch, but also integrating Omega in. And I think at some point in the time, Omega is going to be the one who's really going to be the focal point of the team itself, because she's going to I think she has abilities like everybody else. I'm just waiting for her to pick up a giant crate and throw it at somebody like Wrecker does. So that is my thoughts on in review on episode 4 of The Bad Batch, called Cornered. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and if I missed anything, please let me know in the comments. Be nice as a requirement around here. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and follow us on all the social media stuff: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, you whippersnippers. And until next time, Clone Force 99 fans, I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Good night now.